Hello, my village, or what's up, my village? I don't know, whichever one sounds best, we'll go with it. My name is Dr. Bilan Joseph, and I am the Education Enthusiast. And remember, I believe in this idea, this old idea that has been around for centuries, that it takes a village to raise a child. And I believe that through this space, we have the opportunity to do just that. It is my goal to provide you with free tools, strategies, and resources that you can utilize to be the best advocate for your child. So, welcome, and I hope you enjoyed today's topic. So, today I want to talk to you about literacy. So, if you're not aware, my doctorate specializes in reading and literacy, and that's not by accident. I purposely went into this field because as a classroom teacher, specifically teaching English, I saw so many students, specifically students of color and male, who could not read at grade level. One of the schools I worked at, only 33% of my students could read, my African American male students in particular, could read at grade level, meaning they were reading behind where they were supposed to be, and this was high school. I've been to several schools since then, and have been in Pinellas County now for the last 2 years, and I've seen the same travesty. According to FSA data, around 75% of African American students are not reading at grade level. According to, again, the Florida State assessment, an assessment that is given every year to measure public schools' performance in a variety of areas, but reading is definitely one of them. And that breaks my heart because I don't believe that we are truly servicing our youth. We're not truly helping them or preparing them for the real world if they don't have the basic fundamentals or the foundations of being able to read. If you can't read, then there's so many doors that are just realistically closed to you. And I am very much active and will continue to be active about combating that. Our kids, they got to read. And unfortunately, the older our students get, and I work with the older kids, so from 6th grade to 12th grade, the older that they get without the ability to read, the reality is they're not going to be taught to read in school. They're going to be taught some key strategies to help them to try to pass the test so that they can move on to the next grade or so that they can graduate from high school. But ultimately, the basic fundamental strategies that you would need to learn to truly understand how to read or understand what you are reading, or to be able to read fluently, meaning you can read through the words and not stumble over them. They don't get it. Not really. Not in high school and not in middle school because they don't have time. Basic literacy is taught at the elementary level. And if it's not taught by the 3rd grade, it's not taught. So we have so many kids who are leaving our school systems unable to truly read. And you can imagine the frustration, the embarrassment that many of them feel. And I see it. I see it every day. I teach a few seniors, or have a few senior classes this year, and I still see seniors who are struggling over words, who don't have a strong grasp on vocabulary, so they can't comprehend what they're reading. But they're passing their courses and they're on track to graduate. And that's no slight to any of the schools that I've worked for. I think it's a systematic issue that we just see it trickle down from year to year to year to year. There's so many things that aren't done right, in my opinion, from the very beginning, that makes it nearly impossible to do something about it now. So why am I telling you this? Because as the parent or the guardian or the community leader or the community member who just wants to be a part of combating the illiteracy that we really do face here in Pinellas County, I want to tell you some of the things that you can be looking for to know if your child can actually read at grade level. So number one, FSA scores are your first indicator. If your child is not performing at what's called a level 3, and I'll put a breakdown somewhere of how the levels work. But if your child is not scoring at a level 3 in reading or even in math, because math is just as sad, if I can be honest with you. If they're not reading at a level 3, that means that they are not reading proficiently at grade level. So for example, if I'm in the 10th grade, I should be able to read 10th grade or even 11th grade texts and understand them and be able to convey to you what I read and even be able to analyze at the point of high school, right? If I can't do that at 10th grade level, when I took the 10th grade FSA, then I won't score at a level 3. I'm going to score at a level 2 or a level 1. A level 1 is the lowest level that you can score on the FSA reading. So check your child's FSA scores. If, number 2, your child is enrolled in an intensive reading course, in high school, it might be called like college readiness. That's or ready reading for success, something like that. It's still an intensive reading course. It is a course that your child is assigned to give them some strategies in order to be able to improve their reading ability. Unfortunately, the goal is gains. They want them to be reading better than they were the year before, but it's not necessarily the goal of reading at grade level. And most students are not going to read at grade level by the time they're done with that year of intensive reading. So they'll be intensive reading again the next year if they don't pass the FSA reading. If your child has failed the FSA, that means they've scored lower than a level 3. And so they're going to continue to have to take the FSA if they're in high school year after year, or every time they provide a retake, or they can take the ACT or the SAT and get passing scores on those to graduate. But again, those are strategy tests. They do not measure truly your child's ability to read. It measures their ability to take a test. So our goal is for our kids to truly be able to read. So if they're not passing the FSA, if they are in an intensive reading course. And the third thing I would say is have them read something to you. Have them read something, and you can Google 10th grade level reader. 10th grade, a paragraph that a 10th grader or a 9th grader or an 8th grader or 6th grader should be able to read. There's a wealth of links that'll come up through Google, a Google search that you can click on and literally have your child read it to you. If your child is stumbling over more words than you're comfortable with, I'm going to tell you that they are more than likely not reading at grade level. And then I would probably give them something. So if they're not reading at 5th grade, I would try 4th grade. They can't read the 4th grade, I tried 3rd grade to really see where your child is reading at. Now, there are other ways that you can find out where your child is reading. They're intensive reading. They make them take tests. I think probably once every semester or quarterly, something like that, to measure what's called a Lexile Level. And the Lexile Level basically tells you what grade level and what part of the grade level year. So they could say they're reading at 4th grade level 10-month mark. So specifically it'll tell you where they're reading, and you'll get an idea of where they are so you know where to go. There are a ton of there's a ton of information online, obviously, about what you can do if your child is not reading at grade level. But I do want to maybe in the link or the space below the video, provide some links or some just suggestions of places where you can go for adult literacy, where your kids can still, or your young adults can still get help with reading. Because it's not enough to know that they can't read at grade level. And it's like, well, what do we do now? Now that I know Johnny's struggling, now what do I do? Well, you've probably heard this a million times. So I'm going to say it 1,000,001. If your child is not reading at all, then they can't improve in their reading. Most students who struggle to read don't want to read, so they don't read. And if no one makes them read, they're not going to read. So you have to be diligent in getting them to read, even if it's just for 20 minutes a day. And it doesn't matter what they read. They can read a magazine. They can read an article online. They can read a comic book. They can read a chapter book. They can read anything, but they have to be reading. Reading is a skill that has to be developed just like any other skill. If I'm going to be the top basketball player in the world, I still have to practice. That's the only way I improve. The same thing with reading. Your kids have to read at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes every day. The more they read, I promise you, the better they're going to get. If for some reason that's not working, contact their intensive reading teachers. See what they're noticing while working with your child for strategies and tips that you can use that's individualized to your student. Sometimes there could be other things going on, like vision. Maybe your child is struggling to see, so maybe they need glasses. Or maybe your child is dyslexic, so they're seeing the words backwards. So it's not that they're illiterate, it's just the words are not shaped or faced the way that they're supposed to be. So there are strategies that are specific to children who are dyslexic. So my goal in this video is, one, to get you to identify that they can't read or they need help reading. And then two, use that information to start doing the work to get them to read. I know Bees Learning is a great resource that's helping kids in Pinellas County be able to read at grade level and beyond, and they're producing tremendous results. Kids are coming in reading maybe 3 grade levels behind, and by the time they're done with Bees Learning, they're reading at grade level and they're passing the FSA with flying colors. Again, I'll put the information in the link below. There's an adult literacy center here through Pinellas County. There's several of them. Again, resources, some of them are a cost associated with it. Some of them are free. We have to work together as the educators and the parents and the community members to combat illiteracy. And the first way that we can do that is by having information. So if you didn't take anything away from this video, please take the time to discover whether or not your child is reading at grade level. And if they aren't, then be cognizant enough that we need to move to a next step. Feel free to message me or comment. If you have any questions, I would be happy to share any additional suggestions. And I'm going to write up an article about this as well. So I'll put a wealth of information in there too for you, because it's frustrating when you've been entrusting the school system to prepare your kids and they're not, and you feel at a loss. Educators work hard. We are not God, and it's only so much we can do. So I believe that if you're working with your babies at home and we're working with them at school, we're going to get them to where they need to be so that they can be successful. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to the conversation about literacy, because truly this will not be the first, or this will not be the last. This is the first, but it won't be the last. You guys take care, enjoy your Sunday, and God bless.